in terms of the player, how convinced he was to come, yeah, I have no doubt.
But at the start of the week, did you think maybe he was going somewhere else, not too far away?
Probably not. At the start of the week, I wasn't really planning to that.
Okay. I must ask you about the bad news I mentioned at the start. Saka and Odegaard, of all people.
Yeah, Martin looks like a shoulder, so we only have to scan tomorrow and understand how bad this is. And Bukayo, he has to come off. When he was sprinting and wrestling with the defender, he felt something in his hamstring, I think. So
different hamstring though, I think, which hopefully is good news.
It's the other side, but yeah, not great news. No.
Do either of those, I know it's hard as you stand there now, feel like they might be long term?
I don't know. We lost Kai, which is a massive player already, and now Martin and Bukayo. That's why the squad has to be well equipped. It's going to be a long season. And we're going to need a lot of players in order to achieve what we want.
Well done tonight.
Thank you.
On the broadcast a few moments ago, everything other than the Bukayo Saka injury, a perfect day. Do you want to start? Let's start with the good things. Let's start with Viktor Gyökeres.
There's a lot of good things.
Yeah, there are. There's a whole list. Where does your mind go to, Rob?
It does go to Viktor Gyökeres, because I think everybody realises how important he's going to be for Arsenal to get a number of goals. The penalty was very well taken. He's got a brilliant record, so that was confirmation of that. His goal was very much a signature Gyökeres goal. If you look back at his previous few seasons, most of the goals come from that kind of sweeping running behind and then drives inside and scores with his right foot. So many positives for Arsenal in terms of the players, the new players that are settling in. I was critical at half-time about the build-up play and the flow and the rhythm. It wasn't great. It got better in the second half. And they've got so many options now, Rebecca. Martin Odegaard, of course, because Saka got injured, but there's so many players to come in, so many stories. And Arteta'S in the stand waiting to come into the group as well. So there's a lot going on at Arsenal and a lot of positive things.
Tim, what feels different about Arsenal so far after 2 games?
Well, I think they're learning over the last couple of years. They've learned how to become champion without being champion, and so they have that swagger. Without, again, they haven't lifted the trophy, but they have the swagger. They have the belief that they can do it. I'm delighted for them that they still have set pieces that they can rely on, because that's important. Look, with the injuries, I mean, here's the thing that I think Arsenal fans need to kind of switch, because you touched on it. The squad is pretty robust now. They're deep. Whereas before it was one injury, season's over, right? It happened to Gabriel, it happened to Saka. This team is built differently. They're built to sustain certain injuries and go again and be able to put someone in the starting lineup and not have a drop-off. That's what City did all those years. That's why they won a title, because they could chop and change and then their level never dropped off. I think this Arsenal team is getting there.
Tim, how do you feel about a 15-year-old coming on?
I'm delighted for him, but I worry when these youngsters get, we know what it's like to be in a dressing room, and it's so hard for a young kid to relate. It's great, it's amazing, but I always worry about the mental side of it for these young kids, because there's so much that gets thrown at them, and it's really hard to handle.
But you can understand the temptation when you see him play the way he just played Max Down.
I mean, he's very silky, very tricky, very clever, very confident with being that young. I mean, we have previous. Ethan Wanyeri has done this. This football club has been very careful bringing these young ones in. I'm sure the manager wants to give him a little bit of, this is what it's all about, son. Take a little bit of that in. Was it 4-0, I think, when he came into the game? And he'll be out again a little bit. So I think they've done it before with Wanyeri, by the way, but I like more every time I see him play. Ethan Wanyeri, very comfortable knitting things together in midfield. And with Max Downman, I think we're going to seek to see the similar type of development.
Quick line about Bukayo Saka. We don't know what injury it is. Of course, he had surgery on his right hamstring. He seems to be clutching his left leg. It's a concern. His face told us everything when we see him go down there. I mean, you get the close-up on his face. It's just one of those things. And, hopefully, whatever it is, it's not too many weeks, because I think we're probably looking at weeks. But as Tim talked about, there's a lot of players now, Rebecca, that can... It's not such much of a downer when you can bring Madueke there, you can bring Eze there, you've got Trossard coming in, who did a good job last year. So there's lots of cover, but let's hope it's not too bad.
And then potentially to lose your captain, Odegaard, and to lose Bukayo Saka. Is this playing into Liverpool's hands? Or do Arsenal this season, unlike last, have the options to cope with that?
Well, they did cope. As soon as they made these, obviously, the changes, of course it's disappointing, but there was, even more freedom play, because these are players that want to impress. They're going to want to, someone like Trossard, who actually would probably look at himself thinking, I need to do more now. And then players like Martinelli, who's never been tested in this domain at Arsenal Football Club, having all these players around him now thinking, I'm going to have to reach a new level. There's going to see a different side of me now. So suddenly you start to get levels of players wanting to do better than them. And of course they're going to be competitive. They're going to want to be at Anfield. But this is where Mikel Arteta will be disappointed, but it'd be grateful he's got all these players to pick from.
And I think it just shows you the importance of signing Eze. Because right now they need him. They're going to need him probably. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts at Anfield, because if you think about it, Madueke will probably go back onto the right.
I mean, he could have started today in his jeans. He was so
this
chilled,
is the coolest
today?
walkout I've ever seen. I mean, just look at this little look to his right. I mean, he's got the chewing the gum. He looks cool in the jeans, and then there you go. Stop, hold the pose. And he's like, that's one happy man right there. And I met him a few weeks ago, actually, in a restaurant in London. And I was having a little chat with him. And I was like, well, what a great guy. He is such a cool dude, and he is going to be brilliant there. And the number 10 shirt just feels right on him, because at Palace, he was 10 at Palace, wasn't he? Yeah. I'm sure he was 10 anyway. Well, he played the 10. And it just feels like he deserves it. He's done such a great job for Crystal Palace. This is now his big opportunity. Did you tell me earlier when he got released from there as a kid as well?
He's been released at Arsenal when he was young, so it just shows, doesn't it?
Unfinished business.
The reception was amazing.
Well, he's a player that reminds me of like a Dennis Bergkamp, that can just do something different. Like you say, you've got that number 10 shirt, that pressure as well. But if you walk out like that, you can
Is it different, though, playing at Crystal Palace and playing at Arsenal?
The thing is, though, he won't shy away from the way he plays from Palace to Arsenal, because he just loves playing football. And when you have players that just enjoy when the ball's at their feet and they have that aura about and that presence, and now having that shirt of Arsenal when he's been at the club thinking, I'm going to show you, I'm going to make it work here. Look, you can just see how gifted he is. He just creates space, he gets into areas.
Good strike as well, Theo.
And the goals are the side of it, which you look at someone like Odegaard, probably doesn't get as many goals in that position. He scores all kinds of...
Seems to perform in big games as well. We've seen that in cup finals recently, Jamie.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't quite get hold of this one, though. Yeah, he's a fantastic player.
Do you think it's also...
He's played for his country. We're not talking... Like, he is going to flourish there. And I would like to see him in positions where, in here, you know, if he plays wide, it's a bit more difficult for him to make things happen. I feel right now, the one player would be under a little bit of pressure, and I thought that 2 years ago I'd be saying this, I thought I must be crazy, but I think the captain, Odegaard, will be thinking, he might be a problem for me. Because if he gets in, it might be hard for...
Do you think for now, though, he's most likely to be on the left side, wide left?
He could play wide left, he could play inside. But we've shown clips there, and the reason why we've shown those clips is because that's where he's at his best. Martinelli won't come in there and play in that area. I feel, if you ask Eze, he'd want to play centrally where he can make things happen. But you mentioned about Martinelli that he might need this because he's been too comfortable.
All those substitutions today, we haven't seen Martinelli.
No, and this might be a situation now where for Martinelli he needs to up his game, and Eze will certainly bring that. He's got so much confidence.
Is it also significant, Theo, and probably this is the last one on Arsenal, that in players like Gyökeres and in players like Eze, this is a shift from the age profile of players that Arsenal have been signing. These are now signings to deliver the biggest trophies right now.
Well, even you look at going back to Eze, he brought the best out of Arteta. So now they're going to want to bring the best out of Gyökeres. But you're right, the age and having that experience and that presence of actually thinking, yeah, this is me at that age, I think is a good place to be right now if you're at Arsenal Football Club.
I'll tell you one thing, though, there's no excuses now for the manager. You know, you bought the players, he's been backed. They have severely backed this manager.
Well, how about Havertz and Saka and Odegaard? Just three.
Yeah,
but they're going to be.
Yeah, but that's why. But they've backed him, and the reason why they haven't probably got over the line previously is they haven't had the strength in depth. Now they have. You're going to be bringing in players that are of top quality as well.
We will see.
You'd have answered that question if he'd have been here. You'd never have asked it to him. You're brave behind this studio, aren't you?
He's a big boy.
He's a big guy. He's a big guy.
Do you think that power is going to frighten some defences this season?
I do, because I just don't feel like he gives you any second to rest. And as a centre-half in the Premier League these days, at times they can be, you know, especially because a lot of these forwards like to get in the pockets now as well. They don't like to play against these guys who want to always be testing them in positions they want and isolating them into areas they don't want to be. So for me, I just think he's going to have a lot of joy, and even in set pieces as well, he's an absolute handful to deal with. So